This is TOS Television, your digital first Pan-African news network. I'm Adesu Alsui, and this is Africa Now. The United Nations 15-member Security Council on Thursday issued its first public joint statement on the continuing crisis, expressing deep concern about allegations of human rights violations, including reports of sexual violence against women and girls. The members of the Security Council called for a scaled-up humanitarian response and unfettered humanitarian access to all people in need, continuation of international relief efforts in a manner consistent with the United Nations guiding principles of humanitarian emergency assistance, and called for investigations and justice to the crimes against humanity and sexual violence. Also, Ethiopia's mission to the UN said in a statement on Thursday that the situation in Tigray is an internal affair regulated by the laws of the country, including human rights laws. The members of the Security Council reaffirmed their strong commitment to the sovereignty, political independence, territorial integrity, and unity of Ethiopia. Uganda's Attorney General William Byrugaha on Thursday told the International Court of Justice (ICJ) that the billions of dollars in repatriation sought by the Democratic Republic of Congo for Uganda's role in the conflict in Democratic Republic of Congo's Ituri province could have staggering economic consequences to Uganda. On Monday, lawyers for the DRC had told the court they were asking $4.3 billion in repatriation payments for the alleged victims of Uganda's involvement in the 1998 to 2003 conflict in mineral-rich Ituri. They also claimed a further $2.8 billion for damages to wildlife, $5.7 billion for macroeconomic damages, and over $700 million for loss of natural resources, bringing total repatriation demands to over $13 billion. The UN court ordered the neighbors to negotiate mutual repatriations. In 2015, however, the DRC returned to the UN court saying the talks were not progressing. After setting up a commission of experts to help it assess damage amounts, the court is holding hearings this week before it issues a decision on repatriations. To health matters, a new malaria vaccine developed by researchers at Oxford University and scientists from Burkina Faso has been shown to be highly effective in trials in Africa, holding out the real possibility of slashing the death toll of 400,000 persons, most of whom are small children, every year. The vaccine showed up to 77% efficacy in a trial of 450 children in Burkina Faso over 12 months. It is the first vaccine to meet the WHO goal of 75% efficacy against the mosquito-borne parasite disease. More than 4,800 children below 3 years will be recruited in the next trial. This will take place in Burkina Faso, Mali, Kenya, and Tanzania. The vaccine will be manufactured at large scale and low cost, say the researchers, who have arranged a deal with the Serum Institute of India. A leading Egyptian pharmaceutical company has signed a deal with developers of Russian Sputnik V COVID-19 vaccine to manufacture more than 40 million doses annually in Cairo. The Russian Direct Investment Fund, along with Egypt's Minopharm and its Berlin-based subsidiary ProBiogen AG, say the technology transfer will begin immediately. The rollout of the vaccine is expected to commence in the third quarter of 2021. To date, the Sputnik V have been registered in 61 countries globally, covering a total population of over 3 billion people. The vaccine demonstrated efficacy of 97.6% based on the analysis of data on the infection rate of coronavirus among those in Russia vaccinated with both components of the vaccine. Measles is highly contagious, requiring at least 95% immunization coverage in the population to prevent outbreaks. Only 7 countries in the region achieved 95% measles-containing vaccine coverage in 2019. Matshidiso Moeti, WHO Regional Director for Africa, said that countries that have delayed measles immunization in the continent could experience a resurgence of the disease that affects young children. She made this known ahead of the African Vaccination Week slated for April 24 to 30. Statistics from the World Health Organization indicate that 15 African countries postponed immunization drives against measles in 2020 to help deal with COVID-19 pandemic.
African countries delayed measles immunization campaigns last year as they dealt with the COVID-19 pandemic. While 7 of these countries have now completed the campaigns, 8 remain outstanding, posing a risk of outbreaks. Preliminary data shows that an estimated 16.6 million children in Africa missed planned supplemental measles vaccine doses between January 2020 and April 2021.
This is TOS Television, your digital first Pan-African news network. You're watching Africa Now. Stories on climate change after the break. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. Speaking at the Leaders Summit on Climate via video conference on Thursday, African Development Bank Group boss Akinwumi Adesina said Africa is suffering the worst of the impacts of climate change despite emitting the lowest amount of carbon per capita in the world. He said the AFDB has committed $25 billion to climate finance over the next 4 years. He added that the bank's share of financing devoted to climate rose from 9% in 2016 to 35% in 2019 and will reach 40% in 2021. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, speaking, also said South Africa's emissions will begin to decline from 2025, effectively bringing the country's emissions to decline a decade forward. With regard to the country's energy resource, there is a plan to build the capacity to generate over 17 gigawatts of renewable energy by 2030, he added. Ramaphosa called on all developed economies, which he said bore the greatest historical responsibility on emissions, to fulfill their responsibilities to developing economies. Officials in Luanda, Angola's capital city, death toll from a torrential rainstorm this week has risen to 24, with more than 2,000 homes flooded and 60 collapsed. 4 health centers, 4 bridges and 14 schools were also submerged. A total of 11,745 people, have been affected. Heavy downpours are not unusual in Angola during the rainy season. 41 people died and more than 300 homes were destroyed by flooding in January last year, affecting more than 2,000 families. To Egypt, exploration for gold is set to begin following the awarding of blocks in Egypt's eastern deserts to mining companies under a legislative overhaul that seeks to eventually unlock vast untapped mineral resources. The government is looking to attract $1 billion in annual investment in mining, a target industry. Egypt has just one commercial gold mine in operation despite plentiful reserves and a rich mining history. Mining firms welcome the elimination of the requirements to form joint ventures with the Egyptian government and the capping of state royalties at 20%. On average, a mining project goes from discovery to production in 10 to 15 years. On the decision of the Automatic Pricing Committee for Petroleum Products, Egypt's Ministry of Petroleum and Mineral Resources, in a statement on Friday, raised the domestic fuel prices of the country for the first time. For the first time since it was formed in October 2019, following the completion of subsidy reforms. Prices were last raised in July 2019 when Egypt finished phasing out subsidies on 4 products as part of a reform program backed by an International Monetary Fund. The prices of 80 octane, 92 octane and 95 octane fuel were raised by 0.25 Egyptian pounds each to 6.25 Egyptian pound, which is 0.40%, 7.5 and 8.5 pounds per litre respectively, the statement said. The pricing committee's mechanism links energy prices to international markets and takes into account the exchange rate as well as the repercussion of the coronavirus pandemic, the statement added. That is Africa Now. For more updates, do visit our website at www.tostvnetwork.com. Also follow and like our social media handles on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. And remember to subscribe on YouTube. Do stay with us and enjoy more programs on TOS Television Network. My name is Adesuwa Osuyi. Good afternoon.